The box wasn't even meant to be found. I was just clearing space in our attic for the renovation Edgar had been pushing for, moving dusty Christmas decorations and old tax records, when my hand brushed against something tucked behind a stack of Rose's baby clothes. A plain cardboard box, unremarkable except for the neat silver ribbon holding it closed. My name is Athena, and I help women escape bad marriages for a living. The irony of what I found in that box still makes me laugh, though not in a way that brings joy. The first envelope was labeled Boston, March 2019, in Edgar's precise handwriting. I recognized it from the sticky notes he'd leave on my coffee mug each morning. Have a great day, beautiful, or missing you already. My fingers trembled as I slid out the contents. The photo showed Edgar in a hotel lobby, his arm wrapped around a blonde woman's waist. They were laughing at something, her head thrown back, his lips close to her ear, his wedding ring clearly visible. No, I whispered, but I was already reaching for the next envelope. Dallas, June 2021. Different woman, same intimate pose. Miami, September 2020. Another woman, another city. My phone buzzed, making me jump. A text from Edgar. In a meeting. Don't forget Rose has soccer practice at 4. Love you. I checked my watch. 2:30 p.m. He was supposed to be presenting at the quarterly board meeting. I'd helped him practice his speech last night, straightening his tie as he rehearsed the numbers. Mom? Rose's voice carried up from downstairs. Are you up there? I shoved the box behind me. Just organizing, honey. My voice sounded strange, too high. How was school? Whatever. Dad just texted about soccer practice, but Jessica invited me over to study. Can I skip? No skipping practice, I said automatically, lawyer brain kicking in. Document everything. Maintain normalcy. I'll drive you. Fine. Her footsteps retreated, followed by the slam of her bedroom door. I pulled out my phone, fingers hovering over Laura's number. My sister would know what to do. She always had an opinion about everything, especially Edgar. But something made me hesitate. In the last photo, the one from Miami, I recognized the restaurant. It was Lamar, where Edgar had taken me for our anniversary. But according to his calendar, he'd been in Chicago that week. I'd even spoken to his assistant, who confirmed his meetings there. The lies were starting to stack up like the envelopes scattered around me, each one a perfectly crafted alibi, each business trip now suspect. How many years of perfectly pressed suits and morning kisses had been covers for this? My phone buzzed again. Edgar. Meeting running late. Dinner at 7? I stared at his message, remembering all the times I'd defended him to Laura. He works hard, I'd said. The travel is part of the job. God, I'd been such a fool. But there was something else bothering me about these photos. Something beyond the obvious betrayal. In several of them, I could see documents on tables, papers being passed. These weren't just romantic rendezvous. They looked like business meetings. Illegal ones. The last envelope fell from my shaking hands, spilling its contents across the floor. And there, in one of the scattered photos, was a face I knew. Nicole, my own paralegal, sitting too close to my husband at a bar I recognized downtown. My phone buzzed a third time. Lara, lunch tomorrow? Need to talk to you about something. I picked up the photo of Nicole and Edgar, my mind already shifting from shocked wife to calculating lawyer. Yes, I typed back to Lara. I need to talk to you too. The box went into my briefcase along with selected photos. The rest I returned to the attic, positioning them exactly as I'd found them. Edgar was meticulous about his filing system. He'd notice if anything was disturbed. Downstairs, I heard Rose playing music in her room. In 3 hours, I'd sit across from Edgar at our dining room table, watching him lie about his day. But for now, I had evidence to catalog and a plan forming in my mind. After all, I didn't become the city's most successful divorce attorney by accident. I know exactly how to make men like Edgar pay for their mistakes, and payment was definitely coming due. Laura was already at our usual corner table at Vintage Wine Bar when I arrived, swirling her glass of red with practiced elegance. My sister, always the picture of calculated casualness in her designer jeans and perfectly messy hair. "You look like hell," she said by way of greeting. I slid into the seat across from her. "Nice to see you too." The waiter appeared, and I ordered a double scotch. Laura's eyebrows shot up. I usually stuck to wine. "Okay, now I'm worried," she said. "What's going on?" I pulled out the photo of Edgar and Nicole, sliding it across the table. Laura glanced at it, then back at me, her face unnaturally still. "When did you find this?" Her voice was careful, controlled. "Yesterday. There's more. Dozens more, actually." I took a long sip of my drink. Different women, different cities, all dated, labeled, filed away like receipts. Laura handed the photo back, her movements precise, too precise. "And you're surprised? What's that supposed to mean? Come on, Athena. You're smarter than this." She leaned forward. "You really never suspected? All those business trips? The late-night calls? Don't." My voice cracked. "Don't act like I should have known." "Like you didn't know when you married him?" The bitterness in her voice was ancient, familiar. "We are not doing this again, Lara. That was 7 years before I even— 6 years. 8 months. She drained her wineglass. "But who's counting?" The waiter returned. We both ordered more drinks. "I need your help," I said finally. "There's something bigger going on. These meetings, they weren't just affairs. There are documents, business deals." "Stop." Laura held up her hand. "I can't be involved in this. Can't or won't." She wouldn't meet my eyes. "There are things you don't know, Athena. Things about Edgar, about his business. Then tell me." "I can't." She stood up, grabbing her purse. "Just be careful what you dig up. Some things should stay buried." I caught her arm. "You know something. Tell me." She yanked free. "You're not the only one he's hurt, okay? But unlike you, I learned my lesson the first time." She was gone before I could respond, leaving me with 2 untouched drinks and more questions than answers. When I got home, Rose was sitting on the front steps, her soccer bag beside her. "Dad's not home yet," she said. "I forgot my key." I unlocked the door, noticing how she wouldn't quite look at me. "Everything okay?" She followed me into the kitchen, hovering while I set down my briefcase. "Can I ask you something?" "Always." She pulled something from her pocket, a photograph. My heart stopped. It was one I dropped in the attic, Edgar kissing some redhead outside a hotel. "I found this," Rose said quietly. "Last week, actually, in Dad's study." I took the photo, hands steady despite the roaring in my ears. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because—" She wrapped her arms around herself. "Because I saw him, with her, outside my school last month. He said it was a client, that I was imagining things, but—" The front door opened. "Hello, beautiful family." Edgar's voice, cheerful and warm, floated in from the hallway. Rose's eyes met mine, wide with panic. I slipped the photo into my pocket. "Go upstairs," I whispered. "Everything's going to be okay." She nodded and disappeared just as Edgar entered, carrying takeout bags. "Sorry I'm late," he said, kissing my cheek. "Board meeting ran long." "But I brought your favorite, that Thai place you love." I smiled, thinking of the Boston envelope, the Dallas receipts, the Miami lies. How thoughtful. How was the meeting? Productive. Cassandra loved the new proposal. He started unpacking containers. "Oh, and Nicole from your office says hi. Ran into her at lunch." My phone buzzed. An email from an anonymous address. Your husband is not who you think he is. Check account 078442299 at First National. Bring a lawyer. I looked at Edgar, humming as he served our dinner, and thought of Rose's face, of Lara's warning, of all the perfect lies stacked in that box upstairs. Everything okay? He asked, noticing my silence. I smiled wider. Perfect. Tell me more about your day. The Thai food tasted like ashes, but I ate every bite. I had plans to make. Cassandra's office always reminded me of a lion's den, all sleek surfaces and strategic positioning. She sat behind her massive desk, reading the bank statements I'd brought with the kind of focus that had made her one of the most feared CEOs in real estate. Well, she said finally, this is interesting. I kept my voice steady. Interesting enough to warrant an internal investigation? Athena! She removed her reading glasses. These transactions, they're not just suspicious, they're criminal. I know. And you found these how? Anonymous tip? I leaned forward. But I can verify their authenticity. The question is, can you? She tapped her manicured nails on the desk. Edgar's been one of our top performers for years. The board trusts him. The board trusts the numbers he shows them. True. She opened her laptop. Give me a minute. While she typed, I checked my phone. A text from Edgar. Missing you? Dinner tonight? I replied. Can't wait. Wearing that dress you love. Cassandra cleared her throat. There's more. She turned the screen toward me. Multiple transactions, all routed through shell companies, all tied to properties that didn't exist. How long have you suspected? I asked. 6 months, but suspecting isn't proving. She studied me. You're not just here as his wife, are you? No. Good. She smiled, sharp as a blade. Because I need a lawyer I can trust, one who understands discretion. Back at my office, I maintained my routine. Client meetings, court preparations, lunch with the partners, but behind every smile was calculation. Behind every handshake was purpose. Nicole knocked on my door at 3. Your 4 o'clock canceled, but Edgar called. He's stopping by to take you to dinner. I watched her carefully. She looked perfectly professional, not a hair out of place. No sign she was sleeping with my husband. Nicole, I said, sit down for a moment. She did, crossing her legs primly. Is everything okay? I pulled out my phone, scrolled to the photo, and set it on the desk between us. Her face went white. She swallowed. I can explain. Please do. He said he was leaving you. Said he'd help fund my startup. Her voice cracked. I was stupid. It was months ago, and When exactly? March? In Boston? She wiped her eyes. He flew me out. Said it was a business opportunity. But then what? He started talking about moving money around. Offshore accounts. Said he could make me rich. But I had to help him with some paperwork. She looked up. I said no. I swear, Athena, I said no. I stood up, walking to the window. Did he approach anyone else in the office? I don't know, but... She hesitated. He mentioned Ben Kennedy a lot. Said Ben was helping him with something big. Ben's been on sabbatical for months. Has he? Nicole's voice was barely a whisper. Because I saw him last week arguing with Edgar outside La Maison. He looked scared. My phone buzzed. Edgar. Downstairs. Ready for dinner? Go home, Nicole, I said. But don't leave town. We'll talk more tomorrow. She paused at the door. Athena, be careful. The way he talked about money sometimes, it wasn't normal. I gathered my things, checking my lipstick in the reflection of my phone. The same phone where I just recorded our entire conversation. In the lobby, Edgar waited with flowers. Red roses, My favorite. He kissed me hello, all charm and warmth. You look beautiful, he said. I made reservations at that new French place. Perfect. I took his arm, feeling the expensive fabric of his suit. How was your meeting with Ben today? He didn't flinch, didn't hesitate. Ben's still on sabbatical, remember? Haven't seen him in months. Of course, I smiled. My mistake. Over dinner, I watched him lie smoothly about his day, about business, about everything. And I thought about Ben Kennedy, about Nicole's warning, about the fear in her eyes. My phone buzzed under the table. Another anonymous email. Ben Kennedy's wife trying to reach you. Says it's urgent. Says it's about the money. Everything okay? Edgar asked, noticing my expression. I raised my wine glass. Just work. Nothing important. He smiled, reaching for my hand across the table. I let him take it, wondering if he could feel my pulse racing with the thrill of the hunt, because that's what this was now. And I was done being prey. I waited until the office was nearly empty before calling Nicole into my office. She'd been avoiding eye contact all day, jumping every time I passed her desk. Close the door, I said. She did, hands trembling. Her phone buzzed on her desk outside. I could see it through the glass walls. Edgar's name flashed on the screen. Aren't you going to answer that? I asked. No. She sank into the chair. I'm done answering his calls. How long? 4 months. She stared at her hands. He said I was special, different from the others. I laughed, sharp and cold. Let me guess. He mentioned his unhappy marriage, promised to leave me, talked about investing in your future. Her head snapped up. How did you? Because that's his pattern, Nicole. Boston wasn't the first time. I spread the photos across my desk. Dallas, Miami, Chicago. Different women, same story. Oh, God. She covered her mouth. The startup funding was never real. I pulled out a bank statement. This is where your investment would have gone. Notice anything familiar? She leaned forward, scanning the numbers. These accounts, they match the ones he wanted me to. She stopped, face draining of color. To what? To transfer funds into. He said it was for tax purposes, completely legal. She looked up. I almost did it. But something felt wrong, so I researched the accounts. They're shells, aren't they? For laundering money? My phone buzzed. A text from Rose. Mom, can we talk? It's about Dad. Go home, Nicole, I said. But first, I need you to write down everything. Dates, promises, account numbers, everything. She nodded, then paused at the door. There's something else. About Ben Kennedy. Tell me. The night I last saw them arguing, Ben mentioned evidence. Said he'd kept records of everything. She hugged herself. Edgar said if Ben ever showed those records to anyone, he'd regret it. The next day, Ben was gone. Rose was waiting in the kitchen when I got home. Homework spread across the table like camouflage. Where's your father? Client dinner. She pushed aside her textbook. Mom, remember that woman I saw him with? I saw her again today. My hand tightened on my briefcase. Where? At school. She was parked outside, watching. When I walked closer, she drove away, but... She pulled out her phone, showing me a photo she'd taken. I got her license plate. The image was clear. A black Mercedes. Plate number visible. My daughter. The detective. There's more, she said. Last month when Dad took me to lunch, he got a call. I heard him talking about moving money, about someone named Ben causing problems. She swallowed. Mom, is Dad in trouble? I sat down, taking her hands. Listen to me carefully. I need you to tell me everything you've seen or heard. But first, I squeezed her fingers, I need you to know none of this is your fault. I should have told you sooner. No, your father put you in an impossible position. I brushed her hair back. But now we're going to make it right. My phone buzzed again. An email from Cassandra. Board meeting tomorrow. Edgar presenting quarterly numbers. You should be there. Then another message from the anonymous sender. Check the Cayman account. Ben Kennedy's signature was forged. I have proof. Rose watched me read the messages. Are you going to divorce him? Yes. I looked at my daughter. So young, so brave. But first, I'm going to make sure he never hurts anyone again. The front door opened. Edgar's voice floated in. Hello, beautiful family. Rose stiffened. I squeezed her hand once more, then let go. Edgar appeared, carrying takeout bags, smiling his perfect smile. Hope everyone's hungry. I brought Italian. How thoughtful, I said, watching him kiss Rose's forehead. How was your client dinner? Rescheduled, actually. Had to handle some paperwork at the office. He started unpacking food. Boring stuff. Rose caught my eye, then looked down at her phone. A text appeared on my screen. That's a lie. I saw his car at La Maison with that woman. I smiled at my husband, accepting the plate he handed me. Tell us all about your boring day, honey. Don't leave anything out. He launched into a carefully constructed story, and I recorded every word, every lie. Tomorrow would be interesting indeed. The cafe was nearly empty when Josephine Kennedy slid into the booth across from me. Ben's wife looked nothing like her social media photos. Her designer clothes hung loose. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Thank you for meeting me, she whispered, glancing over her shoulder. When's the last time you heard from Ben? 3 weeks ago. A text saying he was safe, not to worry. Her hands shook as she pulled out her phone. But look at this. The message read, Everything fine. Extending sabbatical. Love you. Ben never says love you in texts, she said. He always uses a heart emoji. Always. This isn't from him. I leaned forward. Tell me about the last time you saw him. He was scared. Said Edgar was moving money through their development projects, millions of dollars. She lowered her voice further. Ben kept records. Everything's on a thumb drive. Where is it? Hidden. Ben said if anything happened to him, I should give it to you. Her eyes filled with tears. He said you'd know what to do with it. Why me? Because you're the only one Edgar can't control. She reached into her purse. Ben left this too. Said it explains everything. The envelope she handed me was thick with documents. I glimpsed account numbers, signatures, property deeds. My phone buzzed. Edgar. Where are you? Thought we were having lunch. I have to go, Josephine said, standing. But there's something else. The night before Ben disappeared, Edgar came to our house. They argued in Ben's office. I heard Edgar say, if those records ever surface, it won't just be your career that's destroyed. Was he threatening Ben's life? No. She met my eyes. He was threatening mine. Back at my office, I spread the documents across my desk. Property deals that never existed, shell companies linking back to offshore accounts, and Ben's careful notes documenting everything. Nicole knocked softly. Cassandra's here. Says it's urgent. Cassandra swept in, closing the door behind her. The board meeting's been moved up, tomorrow morning. Why? Because Edgar's trying to push through a massive property acquisition, using funds that... She spotted the documents on my desk. Are those what I think they are? I handed her Ben's notes. Edgar's been laundering money through fake development projects. Ben documented all of it. And now Ben's conveniently disappeared. She sat down heavily. This is bigger than we thought. It gets worse. I showed her the threat Josephine had documented. Edgar's dangerous. Then we need to move faster. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling an emergency board meeting. Tonight. No. I held up my hand. Tomorrow morning is perfect. Let Edgar make his presentation. Let him lie to everyone's faces. Then we take him down. Cassandra smiled grimly. I like how you think. My phone buzzed again. Rose. Dad's acting weird. He's in his office shredding papers. Then another message from Josephine. Someone's been in our house. The thumb drive is gone. I texted back. The real one? No. The decoy. The real one is safe. I smiled, remembering Ben's words. You'd know what to do with it. Of course I would, because Ben hadn't given the real drive to Josephine at all. I opened my bottom desk drawer, reaching beneath the false bottom. The thumb drive was exactly where Ben had left it 2 weeks ago, the day before he went on sabbatical. Tell me something, I'd asked him then. Why trust me? Because, he'd replied, you're the only one who loves the truth more than money. My office door opened. Edgar stood there, immaculate in his suit, smile perfect as always. Surprise! He held up a lunch bag. Thought I'd bring lunch to you since you're so busy. Behind him, I saw Cassandra slip away, documents in hand. I saw Nicole pretend to be absorbed in her computer. I saw the pieces falling into place. How thoughtful, I said, gesturing to the chair across from me. I was just reviewing some interesting investment opportunities. He sat down, unknowingly placing himself directly above where Ben's thumb drive lay hidden. Anything I'd be interested in? He asked. I smiled, thinking of tomorrow's board meeting, of Ben's evidence, of Josephine's fear and Rose's bravery and all the women in those photographs. Oh, yes, I said. I think you'll find it fascinating. The knock on my office door came at midnight. I'd been reviewing Ben's files one last time, preparing for tomorrow's board meeting, when I heard it. Jesus! I jumped as my brother Andy stepped into the light. How did you get in here? Security still uses the same code from when I worked maintenance. He looked better than the last time I'd seen him. Clean, clear-eyed, steady. We need to talk about Edgar. Andy, I haven't seen you in 3 years. Because I was a mess. He sat down uninvited. But I'm clean now. Have been for 18 months. Congratulations. Why are you here? Because 6 months ago, Edgar approached me with a business proposal. He pulled out his phone, showing me texts. Wanted me to be a silent partner in some development deal. Needed my signature on some papers. I leaned forward. What kind of papers? Property transfers. Said it was all legal. Just needed an extra name for tax purposes. He laughed bitterly. Offered me 50 grand just to sign. But you didn't. No. Getting clean taught me to spot toxic deals. He scrolled through more messages. But I kept everything. Started asking around about Edgar's business practices. My phone buzzed. Rose. Dad's still in his office. I hear him arguing with someone. That's not all, Andy said. 2 weeks ago, I ran into Ben Kennedy. I froze. Where? Gas station outside town. He was nervous. Said he couldn't talk long. Andy leaned forward. But he told me to tell you something. The real evidence isn't on the drive. What does that mean? No idea. But the next day I heard he disappeared. Andy stood up, pacing. Athena? The people Edgar's involved with? They're dangerous. Real estate isn't his only business. My phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Tomorrow's board meeting is too late. Edgar knows. Then another. Check your email, now. I opened my laptop. The new message contained a video file. Security footage from Edgar's office, time-stamped 2 hours ago. He was on the phone, agitated. They're on to us, he was saying. Ben's wife talked to Athena. No, I don't know what evidence they have. Yes, I understand what's at stake. Andy watched over my shoulder. Those aren't business partners he's talking to. No, I said quietly. They're not. My phone rang. Cassandra. Turn on the news. I flipped open my laptop, pulling up the local news site. The headline made my blood run cold. Local business executive found dead in hotel room. Ben? I whispered. No, Cassandra said. James Morton, the board member who was investigating Edgar's accounts. Andy grabbed my arm. We need to get Rose. Now. I was already dialing her number. No answer. She's fine, I said, more to myself than Andy. She's home with Edgar. The realization hit me like ice water. I called the house phone. Edgar answered on the first ring. Looking for Rose? His voice was different, cold, unfamiliar. She's fine, sleeping. But we should talk, Athena. About Ben's evidence. About tomorrow's meeting. If you hurt her? Now why would I hurt our daughter? He chuckled. Just come home. We'll discuss this like adults. The line went dead. I'm calling the police, Andy said. No. I grabbed my keys. That's exactly what he expects. He'll deny everything. Play the concerned father. We need... I stopped, an idea forming. We need to beat him at his own game. I pulled out my phone, dialing Laura's number. It's late, she answered. Remember when you said there were things about Edgar I didn't know? Things that should stay buried? I took a deep breath. I need those things now. Silence. Then, meet me at the old boathouse. 30 minutes. I turned to Andy. How good are you at breaking and entering these days? He smiled, the same reckless smile from our childhood. Better than ever, sis. My phone buzzed one final time. Edgar. Clock's ticking, beautiful. How much are your principals worth? I looked at the message, then at Andy, thinking of Rose sleeping in her bed, unaware of the storm about to break. Let's go, I said. We have work to do before dawn. Because tomorrow wasn't just about exposing Edgar anymore. It was about survival. And I hadn't survived 15 years as a divorce attorney by playing fair. The company gala buzzed with a nervous energy. Board members clustered in corners, whispering about James Morton's death. Edgar stood at the podium, adjusting his tie, ready to present his quarterly numbers. I smoothed my black dress, feeling the USB drive secured in my bra. Across the room, Cassandra gave me a subtle nod. Everything was ready. Ladies and gentlemen, Edgar began, flashing his $1,000,000 smile. Before we discuss our incredible quarterly results, I'd like to address the tragic loss of our dear friend James. My phone vibrated. Andy. In position. Rose is safe with Laura. I stood up, glass in hand. Actually, Edgar, I'd like to say something first. His smile flickered for just a moment. Of course, darling. The floor is yours. I walked to the podium, heels clicking on marble. The room fell silent. You all know me as Edgar's wife, I began, but today I'm here as a lawyer. And I have some interesting documents to share. Edgar's hand gripped my arm. Honey, this isn't the time. How are your clients in Boston? I asked loudly, pulling free. Or Dallas? Or Miami? The projector screen behind us flickered to life. Thank you, Andy, displaying the first photograph. Edgar with the blonde, Edgar with the redhead, Edgar with Nicole. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Athena, Edgar hissed, you're making a scene. Oh, I'm just getting started. I clicked to the next slide. Bank statements, shell companies, Ben's careful documentation. Would anyone like to explain why millions of dollars are flowing through fake development projects? Cassandra stood up. The board has been investigating these discrepancies. Lies, Edgar snapped. This is a personal vendetta. My wife is clearly unstable. Is that why James Morton died? I asked quietly. Because he found out? The room erupted in whispers. Edgar's face went white. You have no proof. Actually, a new voice called out. She does. Ben Kennedy stepped through the door. very much alive, flanked by 2 FBI agents. Edgar stumbled back. You're supposed to be dead? Ben smiled grimly. Like James? Sorry to disappoint. I've been working with the Fed since you tried to have me killed. Federal agents, one of the men announced. Nobody leave the room. Edgar lunged for the side exit. Andy stepped out of the shadows, blocking his path. Going somewhere, brother-in-law? Edgar spun toward me, mask finally cracking. You stupid bitch. You have no idea what you've done. Actually, Lara's voice rang out as she entered with Rose. She knows exactly what she's done. Rose walked straight to me, head high. I gave the FBI dad's real ledgers, the ones he kept in the safe behind my picture. Edgar's face contorted. You little... Choose your next words carefully, I cut in, stepping between them. They might be your last as a free man. The FBI agents moved in, handcuffs ready. You'll regret this, Edgar snarled as they grabbed him. All of you. When certain people find out... You mean the cartel? Ben interrupted. They already know. Why do you think I went into protective custody? The room exploded into chaos. Board members shouting, reporters appearing with cameras, police streaming in. Edgar fought the handcuffs. I want my lawyer. Oh, honey, I smiled. You can't afford me. As they led him away, Cassandra approached with a document. The board voted electronically an hour ago. You're officially appointed to fill the vacancy left by James. And the company? I asked. Safe. Thanks to Ben's evidence, we've frozen all suspicious accounts. Rose hugged me tight. Is it really over? Almost. I looked at Andy and Lara, standing together for the first time in years. At Ben reuniting with Josephine. At Nicole crying with relief in the corner. My phone buzzed one last time. An unknown number. You've made some dangerous enemies today. I deleted it without replying. Let them come. I'd learned from the best after all. And unlike Edgar, I knew the difference between power and strength. Come on, I told Rose, putting my arm around her. Let's go home. Behind us, camera flashes exploded as Edgar was escorted out in handcuffs, his perfect facade finally shattered. Sometimes karma doesn't just come calling. Sometimes she arrives with a warrant, an FBI task force, and your daughter's stolen evidence. And sometimes she wears Louboutins. The media circus outside the courthouse finally died down as I packed the last of the trial documents into my briefcase. Edgar's sentencing had been a spectacle. 25 years for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy in James Morton's death. Mom? Rose stood in my office doorway. Aunt Lara's here. Lara swept in, dropping a newspaper on my desk. The headline screamed, Corporate crime ring exposed. Divorce attorney brings down empire. You're famous, sis. She perched on my desk, though I hear Edgar's friends aren't too happy about it. That's why we're moving to the new house, Rose said. With the security system Andy picked out. I smiled at my daughter's matter-of-fact tone. She'd grown so much stronger through all this. My phone rang. Cassandra. Turn on the news. Now. I flipped on the office TV. Breaking news. 3 of Edgar's business associates had just been arrested in connection with international drug trafficking. Ben's testimony paid off, I murmured. Speaking of Ben, Lara said, have you seen this? She handed me her phone, showing a text message thread. The messages were between Edgar and Lara from 6 years ago when she was dating him. Plans for business deals, promises of wealth, the same manipulation he'd later use on me. Why show me this now? Because I should have warned you back then. Her voice cracked. I was so angry when you started dating him. I wanted you to learn the hard way. I'm sorry. Before I could respond, Nicole burst in. Emergency call from Josephine. Ben's been threatened again. No, I said, standing up. Ben's fine. This is exactly what we planned for. I pulled out my phone, dialing a number. It's time. Release the second set of files. Within minutes, my email inbox exploded. The hidden camera footage Andy had planted in Edgar's office had caught everything. Conversations with cartel members, plans for James Morton's murder, threats against Ben. Holy shit, Lara whispered, reading over my shoulder. My office door opened again. Andy walked in with Ben and Josephine. The FBI just confirmed, Ben said. They're rolling up the entire network. Edgar's friends are falling like dominoes. Good. I looked at my family, blood and chosen, gathered in my office, because I'm done looking over my shoulder. Rose hugged me. Does this mean I can go back to soccer practice? With your new security detail, yes. Mom, she rolled her eyes. I don't need non-negotiable. I touched her cheek. Some prices are worth paying for peace of mind. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I knew what Edgar was doing. I tried to stop him. I think I'm next. BK. I showed it to Ben. He frowned. I didn't send that. I know, I smiled. But whoever did just traced their location to us. FBI's moving in now. Lara laughed. You set a trap. I learned from the best. I looked at her meaningfully. Sometimes the hard way is the right way. Speaking of learning, Andy said, the board meeting starts in an hour. Ready for your first day as chairwoman? I gathered my things, thinking of all the changes ahead. The company was clean now, its legitimate operations thriving. My law practice had a 6-month waiting list of clients seeking justice. Rose was healing, stronger for having faced the truth about her father. Actually, I said, the meeting can wait. I'm taking my daughter to soccer practice. Rose beamed. Really? Really? I turned to the others. Anyone else want to watch Rose score goals? They all did. As we left the office, I spotted Nicole talking to the FBI agents who'd become regular fixtures in our lives. Ben and Josephine walked hand in hand, their nightmare finally over. Andy and Lara bickered playfully about who would buy coffee. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Edgar's prison number. This isn't over. I deleted it without replying. He was right. It wasn't over. It was just beginning. But this time, I wasn't starting from betrayal and lies. I was starting from truth, from family, from strength. Mom? Rose called from ahead. Coming? I caught up with my daughter, putting my arm around her shoulders. Together, we walked into the bright afternoon sun, leaving the shadows behind. Sometimes the best revenge isn't serving it cold. It's serving it with witnesses, federal agents, and a family that has your back. And sometimes, healing comes not from forgetting the past, but from building something better from its ashes.